Hey you guys, welcome. It's Kelly in Black Thread Studio, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. It seems like it's been a long time because I only showed my hands last week, and that's because I had a little story about my ear. It was my left ear, and I can tell you a little bit about that. But for those who are newer or joining, welcome. I love to work with my hands. I sew, I cross stitch, I do maybe a little bit of everything, and it's just to dabble and keep my creative juices going and hopefully have you come along on the ride with me. And mainly not be afraid to make mistakes and not have it be perfect and have it be your own and get it done and be proud and love and share what you make. So that's what we're doing here. We are on the second Saturday, so I have a tassel giveaway. Should I grab that? Okay, hang on, let me grab the tassel. What did I do with it? The new tassel, not the old one. Okay, second Saturday, so with our Black Thread Studio, a baker's twine from Sweet Cheryl. This one just has a button on top and the twine and an angel. I was going to put a bunny rabbit on it, but I couldn't find the one I wanted, the bunny rabbit for Easter. So this will be the giveaway for March. Once again, this whole year, when I do the second Saturday of the month and we give away the tassel, it will be just in the comments, put peace on earth. That's all you have to do. Peace on earth, and your name will go into a hat, and I will draw, and then I will announce the winner next week. So if you get it in before I do the drawing, then you'll be eligible to win. So should I get back to that? I haven't mailed Cheryl's from last time yet, and I also haven't mailed Bernadine's the chart that I was supposed to. Besides my ear, I mean, life is life, right? It just seems like I've been in a season of struggles and just trying to learn. We all have these lessons. It's nothing new. But along with my ear last week, I was also trying to help my son Sam. And that can be trying to help your adult children out and make sure that they're okay. Sometimes it's harder and more of a struggle than when they're little. So that's all I'll say. I love him dearly. He's a wonderful, talented, handsome, smart, funny, kind, sweet. I mean, everything that you can think of that you would want your son to be. He's just having a little struggle trying to figure out what to do in life. So I was trying to be there for him last week. So along with that in my ear, I just haven't, been organized to get things out in the mail. And then my ear, oh my gosh. So did you guys see a couple weeks, was it last weekend? I had the earbud in my ear and I forgot about it. I think I forgot about it because it actually felt better being in my ear. I don't know why. So anyway, I forgot that it was there. But I was having trouble with my eardrum. Without going into the whole thing, I was having trouble hearing. The doctors that I worked with noticed I wasn't hearing, and I went to an audiologist, and basically, I guess your eardrum kind of retracts and then bounces back, and it, I guess, to regulate sound. And my eardrum somehow was retracted and never bounced back, either from, I think it might be from flying. I think it might be when Jim and I actually last year, right before COVID broke, it was a year ago this year, we were in Mexico, and we hadn't taken a vacation for 5 years. So I don't know if it was on that flight, maybe my ears just never equalized back out, but I was having trouble. He poked my eardrum, released some of the pressure. Things still sound weird to me. But anyway, I am feeling better. I wasn't feeling too good last week. So enough with that, enough with life and all of that good stuff. Let's move on to the Black of the Month. Except Did you guys do my yard tour with me? It was so good to be outside. So good to be outside and just see, you know, just my visions and see what I want to do in the yard this year. So I hope that's something that you guys enjoy too. I will take you along on that ride as well. Okay, block of the month. My color is, we have, today we're going to finish up the third block, and I'm going to sew 2 of them together. We're doing the the quilt as you go, no sash stitching. I'm going to put the girl's name down. I said it in one of the earlier videos, the tutorial that I watched on YouTube. It was really easy. You guys, I just don't do things the way you're supposed to. I should have gone back and looked at it and gotten all that information. We're winging it. If you're new with me, you'll know that part of it is we're just winging it. And that's to show you that you can just wing it and it will turn out okay. So we're going to do the 2 first blocks together today and hope that that works out, okay? The first block we did was the Pentagon EPP piece down wreaths with a yo-yo in the center. You didn't have to do the yo-yo. Mine is about 17-inch square. I was trying to make it about 18-inch, but you know, with sewing, everything turns out a little bit different. So you go by your measurements. I did some hand quilting with the silk floss that I'll talk about. And my color is citrine or yellow, topaz, whatever you want to call it for November, my birthstone. And I'm upside down because I want to show you that Outback Wife, it's kind of like an old bark cloth fabric, and I'm using that on top. I loved this kind of eggplant with the topaz, even though I'm not a purple person. And that's my back and my batting. So I have these are the parts that we're going to be sewing together for the no sash. Okay, that was block 1. Block 2 that I kind of petered out on with the squares. I did get my diagonal stitching in, although you will see as I go through, not all of it because I ran out of floss. So I just took my ruler and using the blue water-soluble pen, I just drew diagonal lines on and started stitching. And again, this is with the silk floss from the thread gatherer. And gosh, I wish you could see it up close. It variegates from this eggplant. You can still see my blue pen in there, with some taupey color. I love it. Okay, that's 2. This one, as I'm looking at the quilt, is going to go on my left. So we're going to be stitching that to the center today. And then let me bring it down and show you. Block 3 that we're doing is a very simple pinwheel. Let me bring it down here. There we go. Very simple pinwheel. And I left part of it so we could talk about it. There are different ways to do this. I like to see you when I talk to you. Quilting does require some math. And no, math for me, no. So if you give me numbers and whatever, I don't do well with directions. Okay, math, no. So what I did, there's rulers, there's way to figure out exactly how to cut these. There's all kinds of different ways. This is what works for me. I cut 2 big pieces out of these 2 fabrics, 19 inches. I cut it in quarters, and then I stack those on top of each other, and then I cut them at a diagonal, And then I laid them out so I could piece it together. And I have all these extra pieces that I was wondering why I always wear black when I sew, because then you can see the threads all over. Okay, I have a lot of extra triangles left. I'm going to work those into the other block somehow, so watch for that. So if you have or make extra triangles, just keep them. I'll tell you right now, these came out to be sewn together about 9.5 inches, which after they're sewn will be about 18, which then after I sew on the edges will be about 17.5, depending on how wide your seam allowance is. And that is going to be perfect because that is what my centers are measuring. And then we'll talk about the binding edge when we get to the quilting part. So let's go back down to the pinwheel. And what I did is I did kind of lay it out. It's a little tricky when you have the stripes because I didn't want them going every which way, but I knew they would be going different directions. So if you can see the way it lays out, these two, while I'm looking at it, are going vertical. These two are going horizontal. That is pleasing to my eye. I didn't have to have them all going the right direction. It would be very hard, for me anyway, to figure that out and do that and worry about it. So I stitched each triangle together to make 4 squares. I pressed all my seams. I pressed all of them to the darker side of the fabric. And then I saved this one so I can show you how when you do that, then they're pressed opposite ways. And I was able to nestle that in, just like your little nesting seams, and sew that. And hopefully that is going to come out to be a really nice pointed pinwheel. And if it doesn't, then we're going to cover it with a yo-yo. That's what I say. So I'm really trying to make sure you can see because I'm still having trouble there. So I have this laid out. I can tell everything looks the way it should. I'm going to flip this one over and line up my seams. And what I'm going to do is make sure that those two are pressed going opposite ways. I'm going to nestle them right together. If you pinch, you can feel them fit in together just like a little puzzle. That looks perfect. I peeked in there. I'm going to line that up. The biggest thing you have to watch for then is sewing it down the correct side, which I don't think that got turned around. I think that's it. And let's see if we can bring you over. Should probably stick a pin in there just to make sure that that's going to stay in place. I know some people just jabber, you know, kind of look for the seam and stick a pin in there. I guess I'm kind of doing that, but, and I'll tell you what else I do. I know some people start with a little starter on the end, a little starter piece of fabric. What I do is I start a little ways in. If I'm chain piecing and do a whole bunch, that's different, but when I did these, I wanted it to line up right. So what I did is I start a little ways in so that that point doesn't get all knotted up into your machine. I'm just going to make sure that this is nice and lined up. I don't like to pin. Have you noticed that? Okay, and I'm going to go all the way down. And then what I do is then I'll flip it over and I make sure all my edges were caught. And then I'll start up a little bit farther from where I started. And I'm going to slip that pin out, but I'm going to hold those points and go right off the edge. That way, neither one of my points got eaten up. And hopefully, let me just check my seams and make sure everything got caught. And I will open that up. And then let me press it. Let me press it and then we'll take a look at it. So this one, you want to press it the opposite side. So this one I pressed to the left. This one I'm going to press to the right. So I need to go this way with it, okay? I'm just giving that a really good press. Okay, this is will be the telltale. Okay, I'm going to snip those off, those little ends, those little dog ear ends. And we're going to line this up. And they're going to be pressed the opposite way. So we're going to nestle those seams in, just like that. I am going to put a pin in there, just to hold it while I sew it. I'm going to put another little one in there. Okay, you guys, so we're going to stitch it down. So what I want you to do right now is cross your fingers. Don't hold your breath, but you can cross your fingers. And here we go. And we'll see how that lines up, okay? This part is where I'm going to grab my little trusty upholstery needle that I use to get that lined up. I'm going to just kind of hold all those seams down into place where I press them. My stitching seam should come right to the point of where that met, you know, my little pinwheels. I think it did. It looks like it did. Yes, I'm going over my pins. Yes, sometimes I do go over the pins. I'm going to pull those out now. I went pretty slow. I just didn't want anything to shift. So we'll finish this up. That is just a little bit off. That was me speeding it up. Okay, and let's see what this looks like. Oh my God, it's so far off. You guys, that is so far off. Do you see that? Okay, let me take a look at this. What am I going to do? Well, it's just that one. Let me see if I can, it was this one that's off. I don't know how I'm going to fix that yet. I think I have to rip this out and then I'm going to sew it this way, the opposite way of the way I stitched, and then I think it will match up better. So this right here, where that got flapped down, I'm going to take that out. And if it doesn't work this time, then I am going to cover it with a yo-yo. So give me a few minutes to take that out and redo it, and I'll be right back.